Did you know, with a total land size of just 682.7 square kilometers, Singapore is one of the 20 smallest nations in the world. Singapore is a self-governing city-state and island country located in Southeast Asia. It is located in the southernmost point of the Malay Peninsula and is isolated from Malaysia to the north by the Strait of Johor. In terms of both population and land area, Singapore is among the smallest nations in the world. Since gaining its independence in 1965, Singapore has grown into a highly developed and rich country. It is well known for its effective infrastructure, solid economy, pure environment, multicultural community, and secure surrounding. There are many different ethnic groups represented in Singapore population, including Chinese, Malay, Indian, and others. It is regarded as a major center for trade, finance, and logistics in the area and serves as a non-global financial hub, attracting international firms. The city-state is known globally for its dynamic modern skyline, famous structures like Marine Statue and Marina Bay Sands Integrated Resort. Furthermore, Singapore is recognized for its strict law and rules, which include severe penalty for offences including drug trafficking and vandalism. Singapore is additionally famous for its bustling city life, which include world-class shopping malls, an impressive culinary scene, and tempting tourist attractions like Sentosa Island and Garden by the Bay.
The historical background of Singapore is before 19th century. Singapore was founded by a prince from Sumatra. When he landed on the island and saw an auspicious lion, he founded a city and named it Singapore as the Lion City. On January 29, 1819, Thomas Stafford Raffles landed on the main island of Singapore. Singapore officially declared independence from Britain in August 1963 before joining the Federation of Malaysia in September. But Singapore was removed from the Federation due to a heated ideological conflict between the leadership of the Action Party and the federal government in Kuala Lumpur. Singapore officially achieved sovereignty on 9 August 1965 and known as the Republic of Singapore. In June 2021, Singapore population totaled 5.45 billion, a decrease of 4.1% from the previous year. Singapore population has the sixth highest percentage of foreigners in the world. About 42% of Singapore population are foreigners. Most of the Singapore population consists of Chinese, Malay, and Indians. The political system of Singapore is a representative parliamentary democratic republic where the President of Singapore is the head of state. Singapore Constitution established representative democracy as the country political system. Most executive power are exercised by the cabinet headed by the Prime Minister. Parliamentary elections in the Singapore are based on the vote of the winner of the most vote for the constituency. Singapore maintained its reputation as one of the least corrupt countries in the world. The currency of Singapore is the Singapore dollar. The central bank is the monetary authority of Singapore responsible for issue currency. Singapore established the Board of Commissioner of Currency in 1967 to issue its first coin and banknotes.
The economy of Singapore practices a sufficiently advanced market economy which is interport trade, the electronic sector, and petroleum refining. Singapore is also the world's busiest port and the world's first largest foreign exchange trading center, highly developed free market economy with the richest characteristic, and Singapore also introduced the Goods and Service Tax (GST). The social of Singapore is higher education, criminal justice system, migrant workers, and labor exploitation. For higher education, SCC provide care and supervision to school-going children in the primary to lower secondary level outside school hours. Meanwhile, for the criminal justice system, Singapore retains the death penalty, which is mandatory for numerous drug offences and other crimes. And lastly, for the migrant workers and labor exploitation, foreign migrant workers face labor right violation and exploitation due to high tax owing to recruiting agents, non-payment of salaries, limitation on movement, passport seizure, and in some cases, physical and sexual assault. For the cultural aspect of Singapore, Singapore has been recognized as the most religious country in the world. Religion in Singapore is 43.2% Buddhist or Taoist, 18.8% Christian, 14.7% Islamic, 5% Hindu, 0.7% other religions, and 80.5% profess no religions. Singapore has 5 official languages, which is Malay, Chinese Mandarin, Tamil, and English. Furthermore, Singapore is one of the cleanest cities in the world. Singapore also celebrates festival days such as Hari Raya Aidilfitri, Pongal, Thaipusam, Chinese New Year, Lantern Festival, and others.
Singapore is a small state country with limited resources. Only 1% of the land is suitable for food production, and more than 90% of food is imported from more than 170 countries and regions. Malaysia, Brazil, and Australia are the major importers. During the COVID-19 outbreak, Singapore had trouble obtaining imported commodities and was concerned about lack of food because most countries, including Malaysia, declared a state of crisis. Furthermore, the global situation caused a food inflation. According to the Singapore Monetary Authority, rising of global food costs are likely to continue contributing to local food inflation after 2022. Singapore's impact of the high costs are importing food supplies and being dependent on external factors which always rely on foreign countries for reliable food supplies in the long run. Industrial pollution is a common source of environmental problem in Singapore. Singapore identified another source of air pollution, which is heavy metal from heavy industry, such as chromium. Over the last 2 decades, Singapore has received growing amounts of international industrial pollutants. Chromium, an industrial contaminant, is mostly emitted during the production of steel and cement, as well as during the burning of fossil fuels. Furthermore, in 2017, 70% of Singapore's non-biomass pollution not from burning vegetation come from the neighboring nations such as Indonesia. The consequences, which pose a long-term risk to human health, for example, affect plants, animals, and their ecosystem, reproduction cycle, and biodiversity. Pollutants can also destroy essential facilities and require costly repairs.
The most important domestic issue facing Singapore is aging population. Singapore has one of the fastest aging society in the world, with a growing elderly population and declining birth rate. The pose a challenge for government to provide educated healthcare and support for elderly, as well to ensure the sustainability of the workforce. Income inequality in other major issue in Singapore. Although the country has a strong economy, income inequality is growing concern. The government has implemented measures such as the wage income complement and progressive wage model address this issue, but more needs to be done to ensure that the benefit of economic growth are shared more equally. The government also launched the Skill Future initiative to promote lifelong learning and upskilling among Singaporeans, which could help reduce income inequality in the long term. In addition, Singapore also has the water issue between Singapore and Johor. It's a long-standing and complex issue that has been going on since 1960s. Singapore is highly dependent on Malaysia for its water supply, and the most of this water comes from the Johor River, which flow into Singapore. In the recent years, the issue has become more contentious as the two countries have been out over various issues, including water pricing and Malaysia's initiation to revise the water agreement. Under the 1962 Water Treaty, Singapore was allowed to extract up to 250 million gallons of raw water per day from the water river at the price 3 cents per 1,000 gallons. In return, Johor has the right to buy treated water from Singapore at higher price of 50 cents per 1,000 gallons. The agreement is instead to last for 99 years until 2061. However, over the few years, Malaysia has raised concern about the price of the sold to Singapore, as well the terms of the agreement itself. Malaysia thinks the price of raw water sold Singapore is too low and does not reflect the current market price, while Singapore thinks the price of treated water is sold back to Johor is a fair reasonable. The action is seen by some as a form pressure on Singapore to resolve issue through the negotiation. Singapore has also emphasized the importance of the water agreement to both countries, starting off the providing reliable, affordable source water of Singapore, while also supporting the development of Johor.
Overall, Singapore is commonly stated as a highly developed country with a strong economy, effective government, and good living standard for its citizens. Singaporeans must be proud to call Singapore home. Thanks to the government's careful planning, its citizens can enjoy a safe, calm, and bustling living environment.